Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Powerful Perspectives. I had an interesting experience just now that I want to share with you. I was actually sitting down to record a different video than the one I'm going to do right now, and I'll record that one after. But it's been a while since I've recorded kind of a longer, like fuller length video for this channel, and I've wanted to, and I've missed it, but I haven't kind of done it for a while, and so getting back into the spin of things and kind of getting that momentum going again, it's a little bit scary. There's a little bit of nerves. There's a little bit of apprehension, just kind of having been away from it and then coming back. And yeah, like it is probably one of those things like, you know, riding a bicycle where it kind of comes back quickly once you do it again. But as many of you know, kind of whenever you leave something for a while and then come back to it, there is a little bit more resistance, there's a little bit more awkwardness. It does kind of take some go, right? And take some more effort. Maybe it doesn't come as naturally because you're not in the flow of it maybe that you were at the beginning. And so that's what I was experiencing. And so I kind of was just saying a little prayer to myself before I started, asking that it might be a good experience and that I might be able to say what I needed to say and deliver it the way that I wanted to deliver it, have it be clear and understandable and meaningful and resonant for those who might listen and hear afterwards. And a thought or a reflection kind of came to me as I was thinking about that and reflecting on that. And that was with regards to bravery and courage. And it's a bit of a paradox, so I'll put this under my like Powerful Paradoxes playlist here. But sometimes I think, I mean, within the religious community that I grew up in, but I think maybe generally in life too, we tend to try to pray away or wish away, you know, the challenge or the opposition or the friction of a situation that we're preparing for, right? So maybe we, as an example, maybe we have an uncomfortable conversation that we need to have with someone, a family member or a friend. Maybe there's something that's bothering us or a boundary that has been crossed or whatever the case might be. And we need to kind of step into confrontation. We need to bring that up and we need to kind of discuss that with them. That can be scary, right? And in preparation for that, maybe we, you know, for those who are religious, maybe we pray about it. For those who aren't religious, maybe we just kind of wish it away, you know, some other way. But we tend to hope and pray and wish and desire that things will go smoothly, and that it won't be as scary. We try maybe to minimize our nerves. And we try to find ways of kind of calming ourselves down and comforting ourselves in preparation for that confrontation or that experience, right? And I think, I mean, that totally makes sense. I think it's, we're stepping into discomfort and creating in some ways a moment of discomfort by having this uncomfortable conversation with someone. And creating that is not fun or not comfortable, and it requires energy, right? And if we're already in a state of discomfort ourselves, especially if we are leading out in the discussion, if we are instigating the discussion, we feel like, okay, well, we need to be kind of, like we need to kind of hold space, or we need to provide the structure for the other person who's going to be reacting to this, right? And so I think it's natural for us to want to be in a position of some form of strength, right? To feel like we have things a little bit more secure than how we maybe initially feel as we contemplate that upcoming discussion or situation or circumstance, whatever it is that we're stepping into. And so seeking out that comfort, at least like a kind of a baseline, you know, comfort where we feel like, okay, we have enough that we can kind of build on and we can step into the uncertainty. I understand and sympathize and empathize with that desire. But what came into my mind as I was considering it today, just now, is the paradoxical element of it and how it interacts with courage. Because what we probably don't recognize a lot of the time is that by wishing away the discomfort, we actually wish away the very conditions that require courage. I'm going to say that again. When we wish away the discomfort, we wish away the very conditions that require, not comfort, that require courage, bravery, right? Because it's the very like ants in our stomach. It's the churning in our stomach. It's the feeling of like just kind of being tied up in knots. That is what we're confronting, right? That is where we need to apply bravery. That is where we need to apply courage. If that isn't there, or even if that is lessened, then the degree of bravery required from us is also lessened or taken away completely if we do, get rid of those feelings completely. So if we're not, called upon, if we're not required to exhibit that courage and that bravery within the face of the conditions that actually give rise to the need for it, then we rob ourselves of that opportunity of growth. And we rob ourselves of the opportunity of actually developing that quality, right? There is no bravery required in comfort. And that's an uncomfortable thing to think about, right? But to the degree to which we prize and seek and almost require as a prerequisite comfort before we will act, we diminish the need for bravery. And yes, that's comfortable and it's easier for us, but it means that we are not practicing bravery. And it means that we deny ourselves the opportunity to grow in bravery. And it also means that our source of courage is different. Because if we are looking for that courage and that bravery to come outwardly somehow, right? If we, let's say we go and talk to a friend about this upcoming conversation that we're going to have, that we're scared about, right? And our friend comforts us and encourages us. By the way, like all of this is good, right? Like all of this, like I'm not bashing these practices, right? Like I understand the desire and need for them. I'm just offering a different possibility, right? And looking at different consequences maybe that are overlooked, right? And hopefully opening up an opportunity for us to consider these more carefully and make more informed choices. But let's say for the sake of the example, we do go and we talk to a friend, or, maybe like for religious individuals, we pray about it, or whatever it is, we try to prepare in a way that introduces comfort and peace and tranquility, that kind of calms our nerves. Then the courage, we're not being called upon to really act in courage anymore, right? But the strength that we need and that we call upon to go ahead and do that thing, to make that confrontation, to step into that discomfort, that comes from somewhere else, right? It comes from, you could say it comes from the prayer, right? And or it comes from, the friend who offers that comfort or that encouragement or whatever it might be. But I guess like the main point that I'm getting at with this is you don't develop that confidence in yourself. And I'm not arguing here for egoism, right? I'm not saying that we should be able to do everything on our own all the time. Like, I'm not arguing for some form of radical independence. I don't think that is healthy. I think we should and we need to, rely on other people and turn to other people and support each other, and having a community to uplift and support and encourage us. I think that's a very healthy thing. But I do think that there's both sides to it, right? Because there will inevitably be times in our lives when we will be called upon and required by life, by circumstance, by the very universe itself, to be brave. And in some of those moments, we may not have those other resources to draw upon. I mean, okay, in a religious perspective, sure, you can say like, well, God will be there always, and absolutely he will. But God does not usually do for us what we can reasonably do for ourselves. Because God's purpose for us also is our own growth, right? So yes, he will be with us, but he's not going to do for us what we can do for ourselves. It's the law, the first law of like retirement homes, like people who work with the elderly or with the handicapped or disabled or those, like those who have different challenges. A law or like a principle in interacting and working with those people is you don't do for them what they can do for themselves, because it denies their humanity, right? It's an insult, and it doesn't help them in the way that they most need, right? I think like it is healthy and important for us to take initiative and be proactive in those ways and in those areas that we are able to. And being denied that opportunity is unjust and unfair and unloving and uncaring rather than its opposite. So even within that context of, yeah, God will always be there and you can always draw on him for strength, for sure. But he's not going to do for you what you can do for yourself. And so sometimes like he will back off, and it's not because of a lack of love. It's because of an abundance of trust. But that abundance of trust requires confidence and courage and bravery on our part, right? And we need to be willing to step into that. So there will be moments. I've felt them, I've been in them, and I'm sure many of you have. And if you haven't been, or if you struggle to think of a significant example now, it'll come. I promise you that. And that's not a threat, it's just a reality of life. And my promise to you is, or my, it is a promise. It's also something that I just kind of feel as, or believe to be true, is that if we do practice stepping into discomfort without minimizing it before we choose to step into it, then we allow ourselves the opportunity to practice courage and practice bravery. And the more we do that, the more it becomes a skill that we can draw upon. And in those moments when we are called upon by life, by others, by circumstance, by often surprise, I don't think it usually happens in convenient ways, right? Then we can do that with, again, paradoxically, there will be greater comfort in stepping into the discomfort, because that will be something that is more practiced in your life, right? You're used to being brave in the face of the fear, in the face of the discomfort, without minimizing it before you agree to step into it. And developing that practice, I mean, it grows, like one's courage. But it also means that, like, in additional areas and opportunities where you will have to exercise courage, the resistance to stepping into it, I think, decreases. It's still scary, but because you've practiced the principle of bravery and courage, that becomes more natural to you, right? And it is a resource that you can rely on that is very personal, that does not require turning to this side, turning to the other side. It doesn't require a community always. And that is, I think, encouraging and empowering in its own way too, especially in moments where that community is not readily available the same way. So yeah, these are kind of my thoughts. I just want to leave them with you and hope that, yeah, you can gain something from them. I would love to hear any thoughts, reflections, added insights that you have to share. Feel free to add those in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye for now. Hello everyone, thank you for watching my video to the end. I hope that you really enjoyed it and gained something insightful from it. I would love to hear any thoughts, reflections, ideas, comments in the comment section below. As many of you know, I am trained as a clinical psychotherapist, and I'm excited to announce that I'm currently accepting new clients. I am based out of Calgary, Alberta, so I'm working right now out of Kensington. And I'm also happy to meet with people online or remotely, whether within Alberta or across Canada. So if that is of interest to any of you, if any of you think that we might be a good fit and you're looking for a therapist, then please feel free to check out my bios. I have a couple different profiles, one for in-person and one kind of for all over in Canada. So I'll include those links below in the description of this video, and you can feel free to look at those and set up an appointment. I'd love to meet with you and see how we can work together. Until then, wishing you all the best, and I'll see you again soon.